Sir, now we are live.
Yeah, Co-Chairman Captain Sindhu and Co-Chairman Bhagat. I'm really grateful to Sucham and particularly to Mr. Jaidev Sharma and Mr. Amit Sharma for having been given us this opportunity of moderating this important webinar. And I also compliment all of you on selection of this very topical subject, which has created tremendous excitement in the almost dormant coal circles. And the retired geologists and mining engineers are being pulled out from their graves. Everyone has got a little more importance, and people like us are really welcome this. Similar, India is known to have is very rich in coal endowment. We have resources of the order of 320 billion tons, and even now almost 4,000 square meters, or 4,000 square kilometers of land mass has not been surveyed for coal deposits. And yet, it's a matter of worry and concern, and in a way, shame for the entire mining community that we are importing almost 242 million tons of coal. Some bit of it is acceptable because we don't have coking coal, but the other bit, non-coking coal, it should be totally unacceptable. It's causing a drain on foreign exchange. The employment opportunity that would have been generated in the country, that employment opportunity has gone elsewhere. The state government is getting deprived of its revenue, and the industrial activities of the country are suffering. So this was a long-felt need that there should be structural reforms in coal sector, so that whatever is standing in the way of increasing coal production and bringing it to the desired level, so that the entire country requirement can be met, that reform should be set in, and this is a major step in that direction. I must compliment Ministry of Coal, Honorable Minister, Secretary, and his all colleagues for taking a very constructive view on stakeholders consultation. I mean, every stakeholder was given complete opportunity of having his say, even if some nonsense was talked that was tolerated and was encouraged. And for the first time, whatever views were expressed by the stakeholders, they have been given due weightage, they have been taken into account, and in a way, groundwork has been laid out for success of this reform process. The major changes which have been brought is that adjustment of upfront payment against royalty in prediction of the earlier practice of making fixed rate. The government will share a percentage of the sale price. So, I mean, depending upon the sale price, government's income will go down or go up. FDI through automatic route has been permitted. Greater flexibility in production level, and starting from 50% to 75% with certain modifications that can be permitted. And it will involve investment of close to 33,000 crores, which will give a boost to the sagging economy of the country. It will generate huge employment because these blocks will be capable of 225 million ton of production annually, provided they get into production. And it will result in saving in foreign exchange, greater income to the state government through royalties, GST, compensation, cess, DMF, and NMT. But there are challenges, and I think those should be taken note of. They have been already taken note of, but this will require continuous attention on the government. One thing is that, in my opinion, and probably we'll all agree, coal's days are numbered. Coal cannot remain the dominant source of energy as it is now, and it has been there for more than 200 years. The renewables are gradually displacing coal. It is being claimed that renewable power is cheaper than coal. I don't agree, but that is a separate subject because, renewables are being given all sorts of swaps and incentives, and there is continuous loading on coal, like GST compensations, DMF, NMET, increase in royalty, and whatever. The state governments have their own things. So that has got to be taken into account that gradually, if coal demand goes down, then the necessity or the imperative way of the block allocatees having that level of production that may be given a fresh look. And in all sectors, irrespective of their coal, Coal India or Singareni, and captive mining sector as well, the problem has been the difficulties, the delays in clearances. I'm told that for the metal sector, metalliferous sector, the pre-embedded clearances concept have been brought in, and probably it has already been done for 3 projects. Possibility of extending that for coal sector may be examined, may be seriously examined. Land acquisition problem and R&R problem, that's going to be a major holdup. This is difficulties on that account was already mounting. And there is one demand for a long time that mining is not being granted infrastructure status. As it is the availability of investable funds, internationally. So probably even when the blocks are allocated, the allocatees may have problems in getting the funding for starting their projects. So I think these difficulties should be addressed by the government. Of course, they have been addressed to a large extent, but these will require continuous attention. So I'll close with this, and I'll request the chairman of the mining committee of ASSOCHAM, Shri Vinay Prakash Goel. He's the chief executive of Adani Enterprises, natural resources sector, and he has a tremendous contribution already to the coal mining sector. The way he started per se Kentebasan coal block is set a landmark for how things can be done and how difficulties can be taken care of. So I'd request Mr. Goel to give his views. Thank you. Goel Saab.
Thank you, Kumar sir. Thank you very much for the introduction. And before I move to commercial mining, let me say first that it is the efforts of all of you stalwarts. The Coal India is the largest mining company of the world, and they are doing 600 million tons. Though countries are still importing 200 million tons of coal, but the efforts of Coal India should definitely be appreciated for bringing it to the current figure and having a vision of taking it to 1.1, 1.2 billion ton. On behalf of HHM, the Coal Council, I welcome Mr. Nagaraju, IES, and the Joint Secretary Coal. And I also compliment him and complete MOC for really a very bold and much awaited move to have this commercial mining started on 18th of June. In fact, if you really see, people are really talking about whether the coal is going to be there for 30 years or not. Considering that I have been there in this trade for last 20 years now, more than 20 years now, and though initially I was more into the trading, but considering the country need and aligning with the vision of the government of India, we actually moved to the mining. And as Yukumasa was rightly saying that we have a good mining portfolio now, and we wish to contribute more in the success of commercial mining. And as far as coal is concerned, this is my personal view as being a trader for more than 2 decades, that India is going to remain dependent on coal for a longer period, even though renewable power is getting cheaper and we all are focusing to have higher portfolio of renewable power, but coal will remain a cheaper option for the country for decades to come. And it is going to be a need now for all of us to see as how we are going to be a responsible miner and focusing more to see that we have a least damage to the environment and anything which is negative as far as the coal is concerned. For the brief of Mr. Nagaraju, this coal council of SOCHM is consists of many senior persons from the industry, and the objective of the SOCHM remains to contribute and to support the government of India to see as how we can work together for the goals and the vision of government of India. And here, in last few years, the way Coal India has grown, the way captive miner had grown, I must compliment MOC also that not only they have come out with this commercial mining, they've also worked to see as how you can have ease of mining, how you can have ease of operation by coming out many circulars which has eased down. Though, as Mr. Yukumar was rightly saying that there's a need to see that we still have a lot of things to do in the future, but I see it as a move in the right direction, going and seeing that we achieve what we have set as a target to reduce the import to the bare minimum. We also have a focus in mining, so we are more interested in mining than actually having an import. And here, since we want to hear Mr. Nagaraju and we want our audience to address their question, to raise their question to Mr. Nagaraju, 3 points which I would like to share for the purpose of discussion. One is that we really need to see as how this commercial mining is going to be successful. The second is to see whether this National Coal Index needs some iterations, some modification to make it more suitable for commercial miners or to make commercial mining more attractive. We also need to see if there's a need of bringing a coal exchange now, considering that there are going to be many suppliers of coal, whether it is going to be a captive miner, which are going to be allowed for 25% of commercial sale, or it is the various subsidiaries of Coal India, or it is commercial miner, or going forward, government, if comes out with any other policy, can we see a possibility of having a coal exchange the way we have a power exchange to really boost this use of Indian coal as much as possible? As we have seen that Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra government have raised certain queries on the environmental issues regarding this commercial mining, do we need to see as how we are going to have one window clearance to expedite the opening of these mines? And one more point which is going to be critical as far as the Orissa is concerned and some blocks in Jharkhand is concerned, is to see a connectivity to the mine. It is going to be really difficult for a commercial miner to think in this proportion until this connectivity to the mine becomes an investment proposition itself. So I really request Mr. Nagaraju to see as if we can have some thinking process towards connecting these mines with the national grid for a proper connectivity and proper lifting and evacuation of coal, which will help actually for the success of this mining operation. I'm not taking up many of the points which is in the interest of seeing and hearing more about the commercial mining from JSCO. With this, I give it to Captain Sindhu, who is the co-chair of SOCHM, to take it forward. Captain, sir.
Good morning.
Just a brief introduction of Captain Sindhu. He's the co-chair that Mr. Goel has said. Do you know he has set many benchmarks in coal industry, working for Coal India, but many record achievements he has got. You see, the biggest mine of Coal India, Givra, which is operating at 50 million tons today, Captain Sindhu had a great role in construction of that mine. In Dipka, that is another big mine, 30 million tons. Captain Sindhu had another big role in doing that. But coal washing, he has been a pioneer in private sector, and I am very confident that Captain Sindhu will have something very substantial to say about the manner in which this move of commercial mining can be made successful. Thank you, Captain. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. You are not our moderator, you are our mentor, sir. I have learned a lot. I was telling my son that when he was born, he was SECL, and it is all your elders' guidance, whatever I have been able to do, because of your guidance only it has been possible. I wish very good morning and safe life for Nagaraju. He is not visible on video.
I'm trying to negotiate with my MacBook. There is some problem. I'm trying to.
Okay,
by the time I speak, I think.
But your voice is very clear and strong.
Yeah, it is clear.
Yeah.
Nowadays they hide videos because many of them have grown beards.
Okay.
Welcome. This has been a very forward step in the tough times of Corona, that our coal ministry and Prime Minister have announced after captive coal mining, now the commercial coal mining is opened up. This will certainly usher a new era in coal industry in India, because till now, from after nationalization, we have been living freely with the Coal India. Coal India has served nation in a great way, but everything has its own limitations. After serving nation in a great way, it has become a very large monolithic organization with its inherent strengths and weaknesses. So to unleash the coal mining in India, this is a very good step forward by Coal Minister and our Prime Minister. He always have been a person who has been from. I have known him because Prime Minister, when he was Chief Minister of the Gujarat State Electricity Board, he spoke of coal washing, coal beneficiation, and the entire of things in which the coal is mined, processed, mined in a most environment friendly manner, and then processed there itself. Rejects are generated on the site, reject based power plants are set up on the mine head, and clean coal is dispatched to the longer distances. Now, lot of thinking, lot of water has flown in last 10, 15 years on these issues. But with the opening of commercial coal mining, we will be able to establish the basic international fundamentals of coal mining, in which mining starts, the economical, environment friendly mining starts from the face itself, as Mr. U. Kumar knows about it, that we introduced the surface miners in Coal India, in which the selective mining could take place. This has been a big contribution from our companies to Coal India. Coal India never used it, and today more than 100 million ton is mined by coal surface mining. Then we introduced coal washing. Then we introduced, after coal washing, we introduced the concept of reject-based power plant. And we take coal for Gujarat, wash the entire quantity, whatever rejects are generated, 100% rejects are burnt into FBC boilers. Clean coal is dispatched to Gujarat, and power, which is cheapest source of cheapest power in India after Sasan, is supplied by us at 1.94 rupee per unit. This is all possible because integrated planning of mining, coal processing, reject waste power plant, and then dispatching that energy by air, rail or by wire power. So this is the concept which we will be able to demonstrate when we have commercial mining in place, because Coal India, in spite of thinking many times, from Mr. Kumar's time, the washing tenders were there. Then a lot of efforts were made for coal washing and processing the coal, dispatching the design coal for each industry. That is only possible when you process it at the pit head. And whatever middling, rejects, clean coal, suitable for steel, sponge, power, cement, is designed and sent to them. That is possible at the mine head itself. So Coal India, in spite of all the efforts and the direction it had in the IPO also and in during last many years, but somehow the concept of complete coal mining, coal processing, then using the energy effectively, somehow it has not been able to establish it. So with the opening of coal mines, commercial coal mines, I hope we'll be able to create some model coal mines where entire concept element, that is the pro side of this commercial mining. And I'm very thankful, Mr. Nagaraj, are going to be the mediator, and I think in your guidance, the coal blocks process allotment will be done in a very fast and expeditious manner. And but there are problems in like in captive, people have gone ahead, some have developed, but not very large success has happened. So we have to understand where we are stuck up, where we get stuck up. So the 41 coal blocks has already highlighted 3 points. I will like to have 2 points only. One is the logistics. Some blocks are very small. Creating logistics facilities by those block owners. Can you hear me, sir? So, yeah. So my submission is that the logistics infrastructure should be created along with it. Otherwise, allotment will not mean anything to anyone unless we are able to evacuate the mines like this. And for that, most important is coordination between the coal ministry and the concerned state governments. Yourselves, at your level, you have to interact with the chief secretaries of the respective states so that there is a good coordination between the center, state, and the government. So these are the 2 things I think which one should focus for making commercial coal mining a success. We are looking forward with a lot of hope, and I think this will give a new impetus to making India sustainable, entire and independent from requirements of energy from South Africa, Indonesia, or any import of coal. Self-reliant in energy. So this is what I just wanted. You are welcome, sir. We can see you now. I think.
Thank you, Captain. And Mr. Nagaraju, you are welcome. You are visible to us now. And we have a very pleasant expression, which is very encouraging.
Thank you.
I would now request Mr. Kapil Dhagat, another co-chairman of the mining committee.
Yeah.
He is the executive vice president of GSPL. And he's a very experienced mining engineer. Man of vision as well. So I request you to give his views.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. So the current topic is how to make the commercial mining successful. I hope I am audible to everybody.
Yeah, you are perfectly audible.
Good. So this is quite a relevant topic because now we are going ahead with the auctions of coal blocks for commercial sale of coal, and there are changes in the regulatory regime also. We have amended the Coal Mines Special Provisions Act. We have also amended the Coal Mines MMDR Act, which will basically support the smooth mining, development of the coal blocks, and various other issues. There will not be any much more complication, which actually we had earlier when there was an auction process under the captive regime, under the power sector and for non-regulated sector. So there were two types of auctions: reverse auction for power sector, with a view to reduce the power sector prices, because in that case the PPAs will have to be revised. And in case of non-regulated sector, there was a forward auction. So there was a lot of complication, because then you had to calculate the intrinsic value of the block, then calculate various other aspects which were related with the intrinsic value and the floor prices. So we did not see much of success in those kind of auctions, and very few mines are still they are struggling because of the high coal prices and all that. So we do not see any such complication here, because now the auction process is quite smooth. We have already formulated the national coal index based on the various weightages of fuel supply agreement prices, auction prices, and imported prices. So I think each and everybody has examined, and we are finding it more useful, more this will basically promote the ease of doing business. And based on that, the floor price of 4% is also quite helpful. So, and I also see that with the current guidelines provided in the document, this is not going to create much of issues. Now, the important thing is that to make the commercial coal auction successful, we need, as it has been told by others, proper handholding by the central government as well as the state government, because most of the clearances will have to be obtained at state level. Land acquisition and R&R will have to be done at the state level. So until and unless we get proper handholding at the state level, we will not be able to achieve the targeted, or as per the milestone chart, 66 months or something. So it will be difficult to develop the coal blocks within the time frame. So that is very important. And also what we see that to bring the larger participation, most of the players, apart from the end users, they are 100% FDI has been allowed, and the mine operators, the companies, anybody can participate. And the government has done an excellent job by arranging proper state consultation at all levels in major metro cities. I do not see sort of trouble or any sort of lack of participation. The important thing is that the coal blocks which have been offered, some of the coal blocks which are falling under the biodiversity sensitive areas. So I think the government of India must have done proper due diligence while bringing those blocks. And during the execution process, during the mine development process, there should not be any issue in getting the forest clearances or the environmental clearances. Another issue is the capacity additions in the manufacture of HEMM, heavy earth moving machineries within India. So what is happening currently, we are bringing large size of equipment from outside. We are importing a lot of machinery, and most of the underground machinery was coming from China. And as per the Prime Minister's appeal to the nation under the Atmanirbhar Bharat, we should encourage manufacturing of large capacities of HEMM within our country. We should not depend on other countries for importing equipment or their spare parts, because these are very sophisticated equipment, and we are going to develop large capacity open cast mines, which will require 280 to 7320 ton dumpers recently BEML has launched a 200-ton dumper. So definitely we should look into this aspect, that we should create a manufacturing capacity building within India itself. So these are my points, and then I request the chairperson to take over.
Thank you, Mr. Dhagat. And now we come to the star of the webinar. We are really fortunate in having Mr. Nagaraju with us. He is, in fact, the heart and soul of all the activities which are related to commercial coal mining. And it's under his guidance and continuous care, then things are moving. And we are certain that his continuous stewardship of this important activity will take care and will ensure that this great attempt will be successful. So, thank you, Mr. Nagaraju, for being with us. And we once again extend a very hearty welcome to you. And we'd like to hear from you what are the things on the pipeline, what things can be expected, and what can be done about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good morning to all of you. Let me first thank ASSOCHAM for inviting me to speak to all of you on the webinar. And I also thank Mr. Kumar Saab for his kind words of welcome and expectations from the proposed coal block auctions. I also thank Mr. Vinay Prakash Goyal, Captain Sindhu Saab, and Mr. Kapil Dagat Saab for the welcome words, and also some of the questions they have raised on full block auctions. Since all of you, in fact, compared to most of you, you are the chairman of the ASSOCHAM National Council, co-chairman, and you have been spent a lifetime in the coal sector. Someone like me, I'm only 4 months old. Okay, out of 4 months, 3 months are gone in the lockdown, and so the first time, I think people don't believe. First time I saw in my life a coal mine was once I was appointed as the Joint Secretary Coal. That was in the month of February 3rd week. And when I returned, there was a lockdown imposed. And that was the only time I saw actual coal mine and touched it. Till the time I saw only in Hindi movies, not even Telugu or Tamil movies, where the storylines are different. In Hindi, I think at least we have the coal mines are there, songs are there, and mafia is there, and we are all very familiar. With this few months of experience, we have taken. I think all of you are. I think I'm confident that all of you have participated on the 18th launch of commercial coal mining by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister, the Minister of Coal, and the other distinguished speakers like Mr. Chandrasekharan and Mr. Agarwal, as well as we have video comments by the other industry captains, actually showed us the potential the coal industry we have in the country. Now, we all know that coal is very important. It has is important player in the energy mix in the country, and it is going to be continues to do so for at least next 30-35 years, as per our models. Now, we are also aware the international context of the climate change pressures on the countries like India, where we are forced to reduce our CO2 emissions and limit the fossil fuel use. But there, the adverse impact to reduce substantially the fossil fuel utilization and on the developmental indicators of the country is also very well known. Now, we have come up in the finally, out of this 204 coal blocks that were cancelled by the Supreme Court in 2014. Now we have come up with new model of allocation, that is auctioning to the highest bidder for commercial mining. This, I think, country should have done long time ago, but in any case, it is never late. We are come up now with much more prudent, liberalized terms and conditions to encourage the private sector to participate and also bid for large number of coal mines. As a national goal for all of us, in fact, those of us in the sector, is to excavate as much coal as possible, as fast as possible, because that is the only key to one, during this lockdown, to kickstart the economy, and also to provide multiplier benefits in the coal-bearing states and the district, which are very, very poor and located mostly in the tribal areas. The central Indian states of Jharkhand, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh, they have some of the worst human development indicators in terms of either women, children, and other development indicators. This is because of lack of development. My belief is, if there is a coal development in those areas, this is going to bring a lot of economic benefits to these people and to the areas, and there will be great support for coal mining and associated industries development in those areas. Now, I think all of you know the terms and conditions we have come up. I think some of them are very innovative. These are all based on our past experience. The one is important. I think the industry recognized this. Several people from industry keep telling me in the last 10 days, adjustment of upfront amount, unlike in the past, which is not adjustable. Now we are completely adjusting the upfront amount, which is substantial for starting a new business. The other thing is also we have reduced the upfront amount. Is now is a 0.225 of the coal reserves, GR of the coal block, which is completely doable. And then we also cap the upfront amount at maximum of 500 crores and the minimum of 200 crores for the upfront amount. The other thing we have done is efficiency parameters. I think I don't know whether you had the chance to look at the efficiency parameters. Unlike in the past, if there is a delay at moving beyond one efficiency parameter, if there is a delay, that delay is counted even for the second one also, third one also, because ultimately. But now what we have done is the next parameter will start only after completing the first parameter, or the second parameter will begin after completing first. Third will start after completing second. But of course, if there is a huge amount of delay at the end of 52 weeks, let's say more than 50%, something like that, that's what my thinking, then of course the action will follow, serious action. And we also scaled up the invocation of the bank guarantee. At the initial stage, we kept it 10%. At the stage 3 and 4, which is the last two milestones, we have increased to 25% and 25%, because we want the coal mines to be operationalized as fast as possible. Because if you delay further, the penalty will be higher. We just wanted to send a message so that participants will be very conscious of the fact that the longer the delay, the higher the penalty. Now, some of the questions the earlier speakers have raised, I thought I will try to answer. You're right. The last 4 coal block auctions have not seen much interest among the bidders. In fact, some of your members only, both ASSOCHAM and FICCI members, they are not considered they're worthwhile to bid for these blocks. And we have actually some of these rounds were cancelled. And the last auction was very, very poorly responded. Now, therefore, we wanted to make it much more attractive, both in the financial terms, in the compliance burden, in facilitating. We tried to bring in some new measures to make them attractive. I personally believe, and the government believes, that this is the best terms and conditions we have this round. There is a lot of industry interest. There is a lot of general public interest also in the auction of coal blocks. We hope that this round, large number of coal blocks will be auctioned. will be picked up. Now, one question that has been raised, by Mr. Vinay Prakash Goyal, was about the National Coal Index. Now, this is the new concept that we have come up. I think all of you have studied. I think I know you must have combed with very deeply. The National Coal Index is the we need to have a independent neutral measure on discovering the market price, because the market price currently is undiscoverable because of the distortions in the coal pricing by the Coal India Limited, the dominant player. Because you have fuel supply agreements, you have captive mines, and you have short-term coal auctions and long-term coal supply agreement. So all these things have distorted the coal prices. Now we hope that when the market is matured, when the private sector players enter, the National Coal Index will become matured, and then we'll be able to discover right price for the coal. Now, the imported price, the coal imported price, CIL notified price, and the CIL auction price. We hope that we have done so many models in this, and with the best model that is closer to the CIL price, CIL auction price. That's what actually the coal index is reflecting for us now. And as efficiencies improve in the coal mining, my assumption, my thinking is the National Coal Index will go down. We will reduce a little more, and certainly we'll be looking if there are industry feedback to improve the National Coal Index further. We certainly look at it. We have no closed minds on that. We'll certainly look at it to make it much more reflective of the market dynamics. We'll take that into account. The second issue is coal exchange, again mentioned. Now, I think some of you may be aware, in the past month, we have been discussing about establishing the coal exchange in the country, like similar to the other commodity exchanges. We have been discussing it. Now it's still work in progress. We may, I think, we will have, I think, something to announce before the end of the coal auctions. Some plan of our roadmap kind of a thing we will have. I think perhaps when we have these road shows on the coal blocks auctions in different places, I think we will ask our minister to make some kind of roadmap announcement, so that it gives a comfort to the bidders. There will be a coal exchange where both the players, both the sellers and the buyers, they can actually interact, and then they discover the price for the coal. The other thing which is rightly pointed out was the development of infrastructure or the evacuation infrastructure. Under the finance minister recently announced about 50,000 crores of investment in the infrastructure. In fact, our infrastructure investment, which much larger amount, that's only simply for evacuation, 50,000, and the rest of the infrastructure is also our minister is going to shortly announce, or the minister or the prime minister. We are coming up with a big package of infrastructure, as our minister has announced on the 18th June when he is launching. This is going to be key, again, element of the whole blocks. One is the coal blocks, the other is infrastructure, evacuation plan we are coming up, and then the third one is hand-holding. The element, another element of the entire process is hand-holding. Now we have, I think some of you may be aware, we recently engaged the KPMG as our PMU to handhold the mine owners in talking to them, to the state governments, different agencies, and as well as the government of India and the mine developers. The responsibility has been given to them, so that we want to send a message of comfort to the bidder that we will handle the issues, we will handle their problems professionally, and we will take up with them. And last 2-3 months, I have been writing to the large number of state governments on individual issues of mines, in fact, talking to them. And there is some progress in the movement in some of the state governments. We want to deeply engage with the state governments, because as somebody has rightly pointed out, most of the issues are one can actually trace to the state government. In fact, beyond state government, it's actually district level, at the DFO level mostly. So these issues are tackled at that level, and I think we can operationalize coal blocks much faster way. We have this professional body to help us in tackling these, identifying the issues, and taking up with the state level agencies and authorities, so that we can do this. We would, in fact, today morning only I had a meeting before this at 10:30 with some of the states on the on operationalization and issues of lockdown. So we continue to have close interaction and coordination with the state governments, so that as soon as we auction the coal blocks, we'll be able to hit the ground running. Now, the past experience, I think we talked about it. It's not very helpful to us. That's why the large number of measures we have come up with, the reforms we have come up with, is to make them attractive. What I actually call them is Swayamvar. We have these mines, and then we want the bidders to come and do Swayamvar. Whoever likes whichever mine, please take. We want to operationalize these mines for the wealth of the country, for the development of the country, and as quickly as do it, that's better for all of us. And in fact, as a philosophically, I don't mind actually people making money. In fact, people should make money so that we can reinvest those profits again back to the industry. Now, the one issue that has, I think, recently has drawn some attention was the biodiversity issues. You know, one is in the Madhya Pradesh, Bandher. The other is 2-3 mines talked about in Chhattisgarh. We have been in touch with those two state governments. Bandher, of course, see, we have been in touch with regularly with the Ministry of Environment and Forest. We have been, all those mines have been cleared by the MOEF formally. And some of these mines now, I think all of you are aware, there is evolution in the process of clearance of or giving the nomenclature for certain things. Initially, they started when the coal blocks were cancelled. They called them as go, no-go areas. And from then, the government has moved to non-inviolate areas. From that concept, they moved to what is called HCV, high conservation value zones. Within the HCV also, they have categorized into 3. Category 1, Category 2, and Category 3. Category 1 is those blocks where the hydrology layer is there, which flows near to the block. They are called Category 1. Category 2 are those where the hydrology layer goes in the middle of the coal mine. And the third category is the one where, because of the multiple reasons, these blocks are categorized as Category 3. Now, out of these 41 blocks we have kept for the coal auctions, 15 belong to the HCV zone, high conservation value zone. But all of them are cleared by the Ministry of Environment and Forest. What it means is, while giving EC and FC, Ministry may impose certain additional burden, additional conditions to conserve these areas. That's all. That's what the letter says. Now, out of these 41, the Bandher block, after the MOF clearance, is coming up under the buffer to the buffer of Tiger Reserve Bandher in the Tadoba. It's not in the core, it is not in the first buffer, but it is coming in the second buffer of the Tadoba Tiger Reserve. That the MOEF, I think by our side, they have not mentioned that. This is the one issue. In Chhattisgarh, there is no issue as such, but some people, they're talking about conserving these areas for an idea of elephant corridor. Okay, they are not decided yet. It is still in the minds of some people in Chhattisgarh. And you know, all of us are aware, these names of these 52 blocks we have placed in the public domain for the last 3 months. In fact, 80 blocks we have placed since last 3 months. We had consultations at multiple levels with multiple stakeholders, including the state governments. We had a couple of meetings in the state governments. At none of these consultations, no government, no government, no stakeholder raise the issues now some people trying to raise. I don't want to go into the logic or reasons behind the raising of these issues, but the factually is this. These are the facts. Out of this 4115 are in the HCV zone, but they are not denied. And it only means that some additional conditions the MOEF may impose while giving the EC and FC, and that we have to navigate at that point of time. So these are the things which are in the biodiversity. Now coming to the underground mining equipment coming from China. Now China is now sensitive issue. We don't know. I think I have to take a look at the now we know that recently tenders less than 200 crores. I think we cannot go to the international bidding. Now we have issued those orders to the CAL also. CAL also is going to do this. We have issued. We are also looking at seriously about the equipment that will come into the country. We have asked the CAL to look at it. But if there are specific concerns about this, I think we are open to look at it and take a decision on that. And I don't know about the industry. I hope the industry is positively looking at picking up the coal blocks for auction this time, because the conditions are much more conducive for business. And by the way, I have also mentioned last time, we are also going to establish a single window clearance, which we are going to link with the Parvesh of MOEF, so that, and also link with the state governments, so that the mine approval, other approvals required at the state level, MOEF and the Ministry of Coal, the mine developer will be able to apply at a single place, and then he is able to get the mine clearance quickly. That is also I'm going to do this. So there is a single window clearance. There is a PMU for hand-holding, helping the mine development, and then we have a liberalized regime of norms and conditions, and we have a very liberal efficiency parameters, and financial conditions are very good. I hope with all these things, and then a separate evacuation plan we are going to come up shortly. Apart from this 50,000 crores that we are doing the evacuation, I think with all these things, we hope that we have created enough incentives, enough conducive atmosphere to enable the prospective bidders to pick up the coal mines. And once again, I thank Mr. U. Kumar Saab, and also Captain Sindhu Saab, Mr. Kapil Bhagat, and Mr. Vinay Prakash for welcoming me, and also to the audience for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I mean, we can keep on hearing you for a long time. The way you have put it, the way constructive approach has been adopted, it's a great idea, and it's a great progress. I can see that more than 200 people are attending it. That shows the interest that has been aroused by this proposal, and the way that you have handled it so far. And we are confident, after having heard you, that this is a very well thought approach, that all the problems that have bedeviled the progress of the coal mining has already attracted your attention. And I think once the attention is there, the problems can be resolved. The problems are not such that they cannot be resolved. So I mean, this determination that is visible, I think it's a wonderful development. And we wholeheartedly thank you. And through you, the government, the Secretary, Mr. Jain, the Minister, Mr. Joshi, it's a very, very welcome development.
Yeah, I just want to make a small comment. Thank you. Yeah. I just want to make one more comment. This is what, see, everybody looks at coal as a ganda. Okay, I think we need to, those of us who are associated with the coal, I think we have to make it transparent. In fact, this is a responsibility as individually for us, association, and as a business we should run. Okay, this coal is like also another business, like a steel or aluminium or any other business. Now, like any other business, there will be some problems also. That's fine. But our cultural bias against coal, because it looks like black, That is, I think, unfair. And we have to make it transparent, and we have to make it honest business, and we should actually conduct ourselves openly, so that this sector will be opened up, it becomes much more transparent, and people will be looking at it as one of the important pillars of development of in the backward areas in the central India.
I think the best will be to add a word responsible mining with this to take it forward. Let us say that it has to be a responsible mining by all of us, and in that direction only, I think if we go, it will not be that black word. It is black by nature, but I think then we can say it's a good product to mine for.
True.
Correct. Now, there may be questions, or maybe requests for clarifications from the participants. So they're welcome. There are two questions I have already received. Mr. Nagaraju, this is for your kind attention. And there's one from Mr. Chatwal, Executive Director, RINL. What is the status of logistic infrastructure at all mines to evacuate to railhead or part for or port for effective and cost competitive transportation to consumers? Will the price mechanism be totally market driven and factor on the international price variations or regulated? These are the two questions. I think Mr. Nagaraju has already made it clear the thinking about the government in matters of development of infrastructure. If you'd like to add, Mr. Nagaraju, will come over what you have said.
Yeah, I think small thing around to add is we have done evaluation of requirement evacuation for all the 41 mines. Okay, now in the entire country. And in fact, 2 days ago we had a meeting with Chairman Railway Board and also the Secretary Power, my boss, Secretary Coal. I was there. So we made a detailed presentation on the requirement of new rail lines and the pressure on the high density network in the currently, and then we made a assess with our own ministry and then CMPDL required new lines. We have actually for the out of these 41 mines, we require 4 new lines, very short length, between 30 to 45 kilometers of new lines are required. So it was agreed by the railway board that they will do this. I mean, even if they are take up in this year or next year, I think it should be able to complete before the mines are operational. So infrastructure and evacuation, but this one is CAL itself, and for the private sector mines, we are going to give highest importance in the ministry, because the coal produced also has to be evacuated without loss of time at the fastest time possible to the consumer. That also has to be done. So the evacuation, the ministry is going to give a lot of importance. In fact, that matter also I look after. So since past 3-4 months, I've been doing a lot of studies. We have engaged different agencies also to help me to understand. And we are going to invest a lot of money. And our own CIL is also investing a lot of money on the infrastructure. Thank you.
But the price mechanism and the total transparency is there, and the freedom is there about the flexibility that the block owner will have depending on the market condition. Yeah. So that is there. Now the second question is from Mr. Nishant Alag. He's from ET, Economic Times, I suppose. Unlike artisan mining, how do you see commercial mining in context of cooperative federalism, and which cooperative model can we reinvent themselves to become part and parcel of the process? I'm really not very clear about this question.
I think I'll answer. I can try to answer. I don't know whether happy.
Yes, please.
The coal mining actually reflects the cooperative federalism. Okay, while we are auctioning this, the PL and ML is given by the state governments, okay, and
Yes.
other permissions also are also given by the state government. Once we auction, the responsibility of the central government legally ends, okay, but the responsibility of the state government starts. One is giving the permissions and approvals. The second is also monitoring the mine operationalization and mine functioning. The third one is collecting royalty and collecting taxes from you. So that you see, all the taxes that go will go to the state governments only, not to the central government. Central government doesn't get a single rupee from any of the mines except as income tax, okay, corporate tax. Other than that, central government doesn't get anything. In fact, we say the tax form we have given the mention is about 20,000 crores that will go as taxes or revenue to the state governments out of these 41 mines. So it is actually perfect example of cooperative federalism in the country, where we are auctioning it off. The whole approvals processes are done at the state level by the state government themselves. They monitor it. They also get the revenue. So we don't have the better example than this one. And mind you, before auctioning these mines, we have consulted the state governments. We keep consulting the state governments. We work closely with the state governments of the mines and mines departments in all the 4 or 5 states, very close. Thank you.
Great. Any more questions, Mr. Amit Sharma? Have you received any more questions?
No, sir. No, sir.
Only one thing I want to say.
Yeah.
That because coal is becoming a bad chapter internationally because of the new renewable technologies are coming up, like nuclear fusion, everything. So international banks are not going to support funding of these blocks. Number one. Number two, neither we are going to expect any investors with us from the investors coming to coal blocks will be a very rare thing which may not happen, I think. So everything we have to do it in India, supported by Indian banks, Indian corporates, and we have to act very fast on this because we have, though it will last 35 to 40 years, but real utilization time, I think coal has 15 to 20 years. That's just I wanted to make a point. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's the right point, actually. Absolutely right. See, that's what I'm talking about. When we are looking at the climate change, there is a lot of pushback against the use of coal, both in Europe as well as in America. Despite the entire, most of the countries have now, they are not financing any new thermal power stations in the Europe that give. And all the multilateral and bilateral development partners, both the World Bank, starting with the World Bank, they have now officially ended financing any new thermal power plants in the developing countries. Now in the US also, there is even private sector, there are not many new thermal power plants are coming up because they have the New York financial world has taken the decision they are not going to finance because of the public pressure. Okay, not because they are non-viable financially, but because of the climate change groups who are very active in New York and Boston. They have forced the change in the financing patterns of these the groups. You're right to the extent that we have to find internal resources. That therefore we have allowed this time. We have allowed the mines to be the securitization. Okay, so anybody, all of you actually has to look this. Use all innovative possibilities of securitizing the mines with the banks here, and if there are other the private investors with them also, and talk to them if required. I think if there is a requirement, I don't mind actually convening a meeting with our nationalized banks to talk about supporting the prospective bidders or the winning bidders. Maybe at the close of the end, we can call them. We'll call them. In fact, that's not a big deal. So we'll ask them to, we'll just prod them to look at the very positively in financing the bidders.
Thank you, sir.
That's
Thank you.
another very positive approach. Very positive approach.
I think, sir, when we are comparing with countries like US and Canada and Europe, where they are now shying away from coal, we also need to keep in mind that their per capita consumption of power is 11,000, whereas we are still at 1,100. So if you really talk about going from current level to at least 6,000 levels also, you will be needing a lot of power which has to come from thermal. And considering that the coal is going to remain the cheapest option, I'm sure Indian banks will realize it, and with the support of Government of India, I believe financing of for coal also will be there.
Yes, you're right. See, the coal is the natural resource the country is blessed with. Okay, it's a critical input, and this input we have to utilize it. Now there may be some reservations are pushed back at the international level, but most of this comes from the developed countries, or the high class in Delhi and Bombay. But middle class or lower middle class, nobody will talk about this. Okay, this concern. So we are going. The coal is going to be very important input to the energy mix for next 35 to 40 years in the country. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay, we have done a lot of models. All models give us at least 2035. Coal will be the dominant player in the energy mix of the country. So it is going to be this big story for the country in the future.
Correct. So, Mr. Sharma, Mr. Jaidev Sharma, Mr. Amit Sharma, too many Sharmas. Shall we call it a day or?
Okay.
Shall
Okay, sir.
we
Thank
call
you,
it
sir.
a day? And, thank you,
Right.
Mr. Nagaraju, and thank you, Captain Sindhu. Thank you, Dhagat Saab, and of course, the host, Mr. Goel. He has always been a source of strength to the ASSOCHAM in whatever way he has handled it. It's wonderful. It has been very constructive for 1 hour, little more than an hour. And I think it has proved to be very useful for the prospective bidders. So many issues have been so well clarified by Mr. Nagaraju. A very articulate way. Great. So, shall we call it a day?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice meeting all of you. We keep meeting. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye.